What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and you already know who I'm here with, the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, my guy, Ray Roberts. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm still hurting from this weekend. I don't want to talk about it. I'm still hurting from this weekend.
Yeah,
I
man, you got your national title. You can't have everything, brother.
I,
Come on.
I literally about to say I changed my
All right. All right. All right, then.
So
All right.
one out of two is not that bad. Not one out of two is not that bad, but doing well, man. Doing well. How you been, man?
I'm good. My football season didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but it's okay. You know.
Definitely, man. Hey, listen, I get it. I get it. But hey, we're here, man. And as everybody knows, this is the off season. We're gonna do a lot of off season talk right now. So this is the part of the RPO podcast that kind of transitions to the draft a little bit more, talking about some draft stuff, things like that, and then we're gonna get kind of back into college football. And in a second, at some points we're gonna be doing our mock drafts. We're gonna be talking, prospect rankings and prospect lists and stuff like that, like we usually do every year. But right now, we want to talk about the here and now. We're gonna talk about draft decorations today. We're gonna talk about the Senior Bowl and things like that. But before we get to all that, I want to kind of talk about a little bit about what we talked about last week because Nick Saban retires. I mean, we discussed that, and if you haven't seen our last podcast, definitely go back onto the podcast from last week. That's on YouTube, and you can look up RPO podcast. It's on there. But we talked a little bit about Nick Saban retiring, and now that he retired, and he gives a few weeks or a week to kind of see how everything is landing. There's a lot of Alabama players and commits that are uncommitting and going into the portal. No other big name than their outstanding rookie corner, freshman corner, Caleb Downs, coming from Mill Creek, which is right down here in Georgia, right down the street from me actually. Ray, what's your thoughts on the Nick Saban effect that's going on with Alabama right
That I'm not surprised, but I'm a little surprised that Alabama didn't let know that if they didn't know this was going to happen. I'm surprised. I'd be surprised.
now? Yeah,
I would have I don't know. I mean, they hired a good coach, though. I mean, what else were they supposed to do? I mean, they hired a good coach. So I mean, again, Caleb Downs is going to leave. A lot of reports are that he's going to Ohio State, which I don't really get a whole lot of, but it is what it is. And I think again, Alabama should have known this was going to happen, and I'm sure they did. I'm sure they expected some of it.
yeah. I think they definitely expected some of it. I don't think they thought about the magnitude that was going to happen. Like you said, Ray, they got a really good head coach to replace a Nick Saban. So I don't think they thought, man, oh no, we're gonna lose so many players and this and that. But you're starting to see like I think that Nick Saban, the name of Nick Saban, really had an effect on a lot of these players, man.
Without a doubt, and it's not surprising that Caleb Downs is a defensive back, and he left Alabama. And again, man, I'm sure Alabama knew some of this was going to happen. I'm hoping they've been talking to these kids about but who knows? I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how surprised they were by Nick Saban's decision to retire.
Yeah, I think it was sporadic too. I don't think they knew. Maybe they had a sense of like maybe Nick Saban, he's not feeling it or whatever. I mean, for me, I when I look at it, where maybe some of the older players would have known because like they was like they sense a difference in him. But when you got a young guy like Caleb Downs who don't know Nick Saban until really this year and when he was recruiting him, and maybe he had no idea that Nick Saban hasn't been like he didn't seem like he was all into it like he usually is. Maybe he just got bounced out, or maybe Nick Saban always throughout the whole season did seem like he was into it, and then just was like, you know what, I think this is gonna be my last year, and like I said, I don't know, but I think it's surprising and not surprising at the same time to me. It's surprising because you're right, they did get a good head coach to come back in. It is Alabama still. They still have most of their pieces still there. When everything went down, so it's like because they got Caleb DeBoer in very fast. It was like 2 days after Nick Saban retired. So it wasn't long. It wasn't a long turnover, and then some of these players like I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Like they got their answer very fast, and Caleb Downs just pissed up in the trap reporter this morning. So, and he was kind of mulling over it the last couple of days anyway. So it's like, for me, it's like Nick Saban has a big influence on a lot of these players down there, man. A lot of them, and it wasn't about Alabama, the school. It wasn't about the area or this and that. It was all Nick Saban. It sounds like, especially in like you said, with Nick Saban being a DB guy, Nick Saban. I'm sorry, Caleb Downs to Georgia. I think this is Remy. I gotta look, but I heard both Ohio State is going for him and Georgia. Now Georgia had some ties with him. I think Caleb Downs, one of Caleb Downs' good friends, plays for Georgia. Obviously, it's in Georgia where he lives at, so he got to be around the atmosphere a little bit more. Kirby Smart is from that lineage of Nick Saban, so they're kind of similar in certain ways. And just the pedigree of Georgia, so I can't see why that wouldn't be on his radar. I did hear about Ohio State as well. So if this is Remy, you might be happy if he does go to Ohio State. But either way, I think it's a whoever gets him is gonna get a dog. A dog. That kid is good. He almost ended the Michigan season in one play. So
it's again, it's repercussions of a guy who leads a program, and when you lose a guy like Nick Saban, even if you replace him with a good coach, it's still going to be that you got to be comfortable with the new coach and all the players that are there. And I guess he wasn't one of them, And every time I've heard Caleb Downs' name in the last day, Ohio State was the first team. And so apparently, if nothing else, they're the first team to offer him, to go there. So
definitely. So this is actually a new viewer. So his name is Caleb Smallwood. So Caleb, thanks for being on here. Appreciate you checking us out. He says FSU is a dark horse as well. I didn't personally hear anything about FSU. I wouldn't be surprised though. FSU is always trying to go for the top DBs. I would not be surprised on that one either. They tried to get. They had actually KJ Bolden, another Georgia guy, for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised because they didn't. Obviously, KJ went to Georgia, so I wouldn't be surprised that FSU is trying to get a Caleb Downs because they did lose KJ Bolden. So that might be a good replacement for what they thought they was going to get. So I agree. So all right, let's get into some more draft stuff. Some draft declarations for this last offseason array. There's a couple of names that are big names. None bigger than Caleb Williams. Obviously, he just declared in very last minute. We got Caleb Williams, JJ McCaffrey just committed as well not too long ago to the draft. I want to know, Ray. Let's start off with Caleb Williams. What's your thoughts on him? In your mind, is he still the number one guy, or do you think that somebody can overthrow him?
Yeah, you never know if someone will overthrow him, but right now he's still the number one guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, We talked a couple weeks ago about how well USC played without him.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't help him out, but I mean, he has two really good years of game film, so he'll be fine. I think he's the number one quarterback right now. But again, we're going to poke and prod these kids for the next 2-3 months, so we'll see what happens. But right now, absolutely.
100%. Right. Do it concerns you that, all of the speculation or all the back rumors of Caleb Downs that he don't want to, I'm sorry, not Caleb Downs, Caleb Williams, that he don't want to play for certain teams, and the reason why he declared so late is to see what teams are kind of interested in him. Did that worry you a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
No, I mean, nothing worries me more than a kid not being respectful and appreciating the game of football.
Correct. Yeah. I think that.
I mean,
I don't see him not wanting to go to the Bears, but also I know the Bears are in a situation where they don't have to get a quarterback, and then he might be worried about that. So I'm pretty sure Caleb Williams knew that he was one of the top rated guys. For him to try to declare so late into it concerns me as far as like what other things that he was trying to figure out or hear. Going to be a lot of draft day trades, I think. I actually don't think
if Chicago trades out of that spot, I agree. If they don't, I don't.
I agree with exactly what Ray just said. I am on the same boat. I think that most teams are going to stay exactly where they are because I think this is a really rich draft, actually. So there's not going to be a lot of moving back and forth because a lot of the positions are very close into what you can get in the first round. So, yeah, I think that it's going to be a good one for sure. Got a lot of talent in there. Usually when you have a lot of talent, you don't get a lot of trades because you kind of, work out.
I think that you will. The only thing I do think that you will see some teams trade up to get quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They will. Because it's a fairly deep quarterback draft, and teams are always looking for that guy, of course. Yep. And there's a lot of teams right now that can use a good starting quarterback. So we'll see what happens there. I just don't know. Again, Chicago holds all the cards right now. Yeah. Are they going to trade out of that spot? Or are they going to go ahead and draft a quarterback? If they do, what are they going to get for Justin Fields? There's a lot in play right there at that top spot. So.
100%. All right, Ray, let's get to the other quarterback that we just mentioned, J.J. McCaffrey. Now, obviously, me and you was kind of talking before the podcast about him a little bit. So I want to go over, like, what do you think? Do you think it was a good idea that he came out? Where do you think that he'll, like, kind of fall into? And as far as rankings, as far as the quarterback position is there as well. And what would you
do you want to know where I think he fits as far as other quarterbacks in the draft?
Yeah, like just give us a you don't have to have a full course one, like, exactly where you think he'll be, but like give us an idea of like what you think, where you think he can be drafted at, and all that.
Well, of course, when you were texting me earlier, the gist was that he could be a first round pick. Mm-hmm. I would not touch him in the first round. Again, but that is just me, and I know we all know how teams salivate over quarterbacks. So I'm not saying that someone won't reach up in the bottom of the first round to take them. Maybe they will. I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Again, there's too many quality quarterbacks in this draft, and I'm not saying that J.J. McCarthy has talent. It's there. But I didn't see enough of it to warrant a first round pick for him this year. I didn't. So
I agree. As a Michigan fan, it was very disheartening to see him really not put out that signature game for me. I don't think he has a signature game. I think he has good games. I think he has decent games. And is that because of Michigan? Maybe, you got two really good running backs back there that you don't need to run the pass the ball as much as, the other quarterbacks that we'll be talking about in the future. You know, you got a really good offensive line. I will say the good thing about him is that his wide receiver play wasn't the greatest wide receiver play also. So that's a positive on him. So I would say I would agree with you in the sense of if I was an NFL GM, I wouldn't take him in the first round, but top of the second round, I would definitely be looking into because I do see the potential there. I don't know how much you gotta. I feel like you gotta have a good situation to put him into your organization. And if he could do something, me and Ray was talking about this earlier. If there's a team that's willing to do what Jordan Love was to the franchise and get a guy that can sit behind a veteran, learn, sit for a little bit, and then go out there and play, I think Kathy is the perfect guy for that. And he's one of the younger quarterbacks in this draft. That plays.
Yes, but the other thing is you got to remember is that's why, again, Jordan Love was taken at the end of the first round. And
I think he was high. I think he was 14 or something.
26.
Really? Jordan Love was 26?
Yep, 26.
I thought that was the first time the Dolphins. I mean, not Dolphins. The Packers.
26. Pretty sure 26.
Dang, Ray, that's crazy. You remember that so well. You're very. If you're right, yeah, you're right. Dude, that was really good, right? That's impressive. You knew that, like you like no 26, no, yes, 26, 26. Yeah, okay.
Well, I just know because you got to remember that's the same draft Tua came out of, so I kind of know where those quarterbacks were taken.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So
okay.
I mean,
I would say if there's a team that is like a Green Bay, and I can't think of them right now, maybe a Tampa. I don't know.
There you go. That's perfect though.
Yeah.
And they're in a good situation. Now here's the caveat for that. If they do that, they have Baker Mayfield. They have to re-sign Baker Mayfield and convince him that he's going to be okay for at least 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But that's perfect scenario though, because that's what you want. Like, it's funny when I was a kid, Jerome. That's how all quarterbacks were developed. Every quarterback sat on the bench for at least 2 years, including guys like Steve Young, dude. Like everybody. That's just how it was back then. Yeah. Now, guys are first round picks. They're all making $5-8 million in their first year. They want to get them on the field. It's a mistake. It's not how you develop players. You don't develop a quarterback by throwing him out there and just throwing in against against NFL defenses right away. You just don't develop quarterbacks, or you shouldn't develop quarterbacks that way. Usually, the best quarterbacks. I mean, yeah, there's exceptions. Joe Burrow. There's guys that are different. There are, but I mean, I don't like developing quarterbacks that way. I will say this. I think that there's at least 5 quarterbacks that I would take before McCarthy, though.
5? Okay.
At least 5.
That's not a bad number, though. I'm not going to lie. That's not a bad number.
It's not a bad number, but, I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, Jerome. I am not as high on Drake May as everyone else is.
I know. You told me.
I'm not. I mean, I think, again, there's talent there. I'm not saying he won't. He will get drafted. Here's the thing. He's the guy that should be taken at the end of the first round, but he's going to get taken way, way before that. Way before that.
Oh, yeah. I think, and I know, Ray, we need some time to kind of like reevaluate, do some analysis and stuff like that, but Drake May, top 10 guy?
Not me, but
no. I'm saying, not from what you think as far as your time, but
no, he's top 5. Top 5. Top 5. He'll be taken in top 5. That's where if Chicago takes a quarterback, I'm going to assume it's going to be Caleb Williams. All right, I'm going to assume that because that's what I would do. Mm-hmm. And then someone will move up into the top 5 to take Drake May.
Yeah, I agree. I seen this mock draft that had the Bears picking Drake May first overall instead of Caleb Williams. I was like, why would you do that? You just got rid of you just kind of got rid of the guy
Mr.
right before
Trubisky.
Rich Trubisky,
Yeah. And you're
and
drafting the same
now
guy.
the next quarterback after that, you're gonna take another USC guy. I don't think that's gonna vote well with the fans. I really don't.
Here's the other thing.
And the fans actually want what's his name to stay.
What's that?
The fans want
Drake May?
no the quarterback that's there right now
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. The fans want Justin Fields. From what I'm hearing, the fans they want Justin Fields.
Well, you know what? Chicago should play that card all the way to the draft and say, you know what? What do you guys think about this first pick and see who comes in. Now, if that happens, I'm assuming it was Remy, then Remy was exactly right. There will be a lot of movement in that top 10.
Yeah. That wasn't Remy. That was a new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, if that happens where Chicago trades that first pick, then you're going to see some teams, because New England's going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
They almost have to at this point. So, and they have the third pick, I believe, right? Yeah, they have the third pick. So you're going to see someone try to get ahead of them. And then, unless they move up to number one to get Caleb Williams, because if I was New England, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I could move up 2 spots to the first spot and get Caleb Williams, because I don't know who the coach is going to be. Oh, I do. They hired a defensive guy, right?
Yeah.
Rod Mayo, right?
Yep, Rod Mayo.
Man,
I was just about to mention him because, like, now that you got a young coach and he's a defensive coach, usually defensive coaches want to get their quarterbacks in place in order for their coordinators to have somebody that's good. You know, and it's the same recipe that D'Amico Ryans did. I think a few years ago it was, can't remember who it was. I can't remember who it was, but I think that the blueprint with that D'Amico Ryans did, you know, go get your quarterback, you know, get him in there, get him established. You have a really good young quarterback, start building your defense the way you wanted to, and then allow your quarterback not to have to do everything, you know, like your defense play well, so it's not a lot of pressure on that young quarterback. So I think it's a good recipe. I think people are going to really follow that up. So I can't see New England not getting a quarterback here.
No, but see, that's the thing. Like, if I were them, don't get me wrong, they could, because the top 5 quarterbacks, Drake May is going to probably go second.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where I'm not sure, though, Jerome. That's where you could actually see a lot of movement, because Jaden Daniels is going to go in the first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Penix may not go in the first round now.
Yeah, I and that's why I was so annoyed. Like, I wasn't annoyed by the championship game because, you know, it's as a fan, it's fun to watch, and, you know, I'm a Michigan fan, so it's great to see them win. I was annoyed too because I feel like the quarterback play didn't help either of those guys in that game. You know,
No, I mean,
Penix
there's a guy right there. See,
Penix had a solid game, but he kept getting injured. He's already 24, I think, maybe 25, so he's already kind of older. Keep getting injured. A very talented player, but the injuries keep happening. So I'm worried about that.
I can see. No, there's a guy right there. I could see, like, Tampa Bay drafting Michael Penix at the end of the first round,
or something like that.
Getting him on the bench for 2 years because their offensive line is pretty good, and should remain fairly good. And then you get him to sit behind Baker Mayfield for a couple of years. Again, you got to convince Baker Mayfield that it's worth it to him. So you have to overpay Baker Mayfield, which I don't really want to do if I'm Tampa Bay, but you may be in a position where you got to pay him. Honestly, I would offer Baker Mayfield $25 million a year and see if he bites at that. I mean, guarantee like almost the whole contract. This way, if he only plays 2 years, he's going to walk away with like $50 million. He should be fine.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, yo, and we're not, and because everybody bullshits when it comes to coaches. You tell the guy, "Oh yeah, it's going to be an open competition," until it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, until you say, "Well, my guy has to get out there because he's coming into his second year. Next year's his third year. We only have one more year really to evaluate him after that to see if we want to re-sign him or not."
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's where you kind of like, and this is where, honestly, Jerome, people tell me I'm not. I would never be a good GM because I don't want to pay anybody, and I get that. I do, but I don't agree. I don't overpay guys, man. I would never overpay anybody unless I had to. I mean, you remember when Joe Banner was the Eagles GM?
Yeah.
Joe Banner was great at writing good contracts, man,
Mm-hmm.
and signing guys before their free agency would come up and getting them the really good deals. I would be that guy. The only difference is I have a football background and I love football. I'm not just into it for the money. That's the only thing I didn't like about Joe Banner.
I cannot stand
He
that
was
guy.
too into the money, though, dude. But he did a great job managing your cap the whole time he was here.
100%. 100%. I agree with
But
that.
again, he's one of the reasons why Brian Dawkins left, though. So I get that. No, I get it. I understand. But he did a phenomenal job managing that salary cap the whole time he was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to maybe some surprising names out there that maybe to you. Obviously my biggest one is JJ McCaffrey. I felt that he should have stayed on one more year. I before just the championship game, I was like, man, I think he's gonna leave, and then it kind of I got swayed a little bit. Think maybe he might want to come back just a little bit. Just
See, that's my other part about it, Jerome. Not again, we all know there's talent there. There is. But he's one of 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks that are going to be drafted fairly early this year.
Yeah.
Next year, he could have been an easy first round pick, and no one would have questioned it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if he went in there and did a little better passing the ball than he did in Michigan, if Michigan wins again, or they're a playoff team again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's a reason why a guy like Todd Blackledge gets taken in the first round out of Penn State because he won a lot of games at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't that good, but he won a lot of games.
No, I hear you, Ray. I hear you. So I agree with that for sure. But any other names that kind of pop up to you, Ray?
As far as players, what coming out earlier than I thought?
Yeah. I can name some names off if you want.
Yeah, God, and I'll let you know.
Joe, obviously, I think we all kind of knew he was coming out. Joe, Terry Arnold from Alabama, the corner. Jaheim Bell, the tight end from FSU. Trey Benson from FSU. Brock Bowers, I'm pretty sure we all knew he was coming out. Jonathan Brookers from Texas. Jared Colson from Michigan. Keon Coleman from FSU. FSU lost a lot of guys, by the way. Michigan too. Lost a lot of people. Cooper DeJohn from Iowa. He came out early. And you gotta help me with your running back, right? Aldrich
Estime.
Aldrich Estime.
There's no reason for him not to come out. Jerome, I think we've talked about this before. The one position I would tell guys to come out, running back. Come out as soon as you can. You're only going to make money for 5 years. Come out and make every dime you can.
Yeah.
Every dime.
Fasanu from Penn State, the offensive tackle. Troy Franklin, the wide receiver from Oregon. Frank Gore Jr. Obviously, his name sounds familiar because his dad used to play in the NFL. Running back from Southern Miss. Marvin Harrison Jr. Everybody knew he was coming out, so that didn't surprise much. Bucky Irvin from Oregon. Dylan Johnson from Washington. Theo Johnson from Penn State, tight end. Cameron Kitchens from Miami. Kamari Lassier from Georgia. J.C. Latham, offensive tackle from Alabama. Let's see who else. Marshawn Lloyd from the running back from USC. Drake May, UNC. JJ McCaffrey from Michigan. Lad McConkey from Georgia, the wide receiver. Kool-Aid McKinstry, corner from Alabama. Dang, that means they're losing both of their starting quarterback.
That's what surprises me.
Yeah.
Like there's a spot for him to play.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He was pretty much a starter anyway, but yeah, I heard you right.
Yeah, but you lose McKinstry, there's a spot like you're there. I mean, I don't get that part of it. Like, again, unless like you know what, I only heard inklings about Georgia, but really in a way because they're losing Lassiter, that kind of makes sense for him to go there too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I don't know, man. I'm not into guys leaving early though. I'm not into guys like changing teams.
Yeah.
I'm not into it, man. It's going to take me a while to get used to it, to be honest with you.
No, I hear you. A couple of other guys, Romeo Donzi, the wide receiver from Washington. Jalen Polk, the wide receiver from Washington as well. Jackson Power Johnson, the offensive lineman from Oregon. Michael Pratt, the quarterback from Tulane, coming out on a quarterback heavy draft, and he's going to be at the Senior Bowl too. And we're going to talk about
what year is he in? Do you know that?
What year is he? He's a junior.
He's a junior.
Yeah, he's
that's what I mean, like
the list I'm reading off. These are all juniors coming out early, by the way.
Right.
So, Chop Robinson, the edge rusher from Penn State. Will Shipley, the running back from Clemson. And I'm not reading everybody off the list. I'm just reading out names that are recognizable names. Bradlin Trice, the edge rusher from Washington. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the linebacker from Clemson. Another name that we know, Trotter playing for the Eagles, linebacker. Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from Alabama. Cedric Val Pran, the offensive lineman from Georgia. Jared Verse, the offensive lineman from defensive lineman from FSU. Kamari Vidal, the running back from Troy. Nate Wiggins, the cornerback from Clemson. Obviously, Caleb Williams from USC, the quarterback. Makai Wingo, defensive tackle from LSU. And Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from Texas. So that's just a couple of names there. There's a huge list of other juniors here. I didn't want to name off every last one of them, but some notable names. As you see, there's a lot of Washington guys, a lot of Alabama guys, as always. A couple of Georgia guys in there as well. Any names kind of pop out to you, Ray?
No, not really, man. Just like the corners that I talked about, we're going to leave. Mm-hmm. The one guy I really like is Cedric Gray, the linebacker from North Carolina. I like him. I don't know what his situation is. I probably would have stayed in school if I was him for one more year, but I know he's going to come out. We talked about McCarthy, the quarterback. The quarterback from Tulane, again, with a quarterback deep draft, I would have stayed in school for one more year.
Yeah, especially if it's like one of those high-profile schools too.
Yeah, like I don't understand why he would come out right so soon. But again, man, like who knows? I mean, these kids probably all have talked to agents or lawyers or.
I missed the name. It's probably a big name. Malik Neighbors from LSU, the wide receiver. He's probably going to be one of the top wide receivers drafted too. So
he will be, and again, now see that I agree with because he's coming off of a hot year too.
Yep.
He's played really well, and Daniels is leaving, so now his hookup is not going to be there next year.
Exactly. You're on the same page, right?
That makes a lot of sense, actually, man. Well, you got to strike the iron while it's hot, man. There's no question about that. We all know that. So
No, and I agree with that. There's a couple of them that are looking like a little like, oh, okay, you coming out again. I get it. There's always the injury factor, things like that. I also heard that this is probably the smallest list of juniors in the last few years, and a lot of people thinking it's because of the NILs now that are allowing people to kind of stay these kids to stay a little bit longer now because they're getting paid, so they're not as anxious to go to the NFL and just complete their years, increase their draft stock, and I kind of agree with it. So, what do you think about that, Ray?
no, I agree. I just think that you just do what benefits you, man. Like you got to. I mean, this is where you're talking about the rest of your career now. So
Mm-hmm.
make the best decision for you. I mean, I don't know if you should always be worried about what down the road as opposed to right now, man. Like right now, you got to make a lot of big decisions that are going to affect the rest of your career, the rest of your life. So make smart decisions.
Definitely. No, I agree with that.
I
All
mean,
right, go ahead.
I mean, I have a thing right here, Jerome, where guys were projected to be taken. Jaden Daniels is a first round pick. Drake May they have listed as a top 10. They have McCarthy going late first, early second. Michael Pratt they have late fourth, early fifth.
That's
Would
crazy.
you draft Michael Pratt before Spencer Rattler though?
I gotta evaluate him a little bit more. I don't watch a lot of Tulane games, so I can't say that right now.
Okay.
I would say Spencer Rattler. He's a wild card to me, man. I mean, he has great days and he has horrible days.
Any more of a wild card than Brock Purdy?
It depends on the situation, really. Because when Brock Purdy came out, he was a hot.
That could be said
It
about.
was funny because they were having bad years at the same time. I remember that. Me and you were talking about it. Yeah.
That could be said about everybody, though.
You got some that have bad games and some have like bad droughts, and both of those guys had some serious bad droughts. Both of them. So, every quarterback in NFL, college, high school, whatever, any player had bad games. There's always a player that had bad games.
Well, sure, everybody has bad games.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's when you have the bad droughts that's the issue. When you have the bad droughts, that's when you're, especially at the quarterback position. Like any other position, you can have a bad drought and still be okay as a team. If you're a quarterback and you're having a bad drought as a quarterback, it's going to be rough going for that team, for sure. And when you're in your Spencer Rattler or like Brock Purdy was, and you had those bad droughts, it really hurt your team. So we'll definitely see how everybody kind of feels on Rattler. I'm not high on him. I do want to evaluate Michael Pratt a little bit more before I can tell you, and he is coming to the Senior Bowl. So we can talk about the Senior Bowl, start getting into the Senior Bowl roster now, but he will be at the Senior Bowl, so he has a chance to really show his skills there and show us like who he is there. So I think a little bit after that, after I get a little bit more evaluation of him, I can kind of tell you. But before we kind of go into that, I want to talk about the Senior Bowl and who's going to be there. Let's start off with the quarterbacks real quick, Ray. We got Joe Milton, we got Spencer Rattler, who we just talked about. We got Bo Nix, Michael Pratt, who we just talked about. Sam Hartman, you know all about him, Ray. Carter Bradley from Alabama, and then the biggest name that's gonna be there, Michael Penix, is gonna be there. So, I think, Ray, personally, I think this is one of the better quarterback rosters that they had after Senior Bowl in a long time. Last time they had a roster like this, Jalen Hurts, and quarterback from the Chargers,
Justin Herbert.
they had him all those guys there. I think that was one of the better quarterback groups there. This might be a little bit better than that. What you think, Ray?
This is very good, actually.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, like you have guys like you said with upside potential, like a Rattler and a Joe Milton, and you have a guy who yeah, man, we've all had our Bo Nixes up and downs, but the last year or two, man, has been all up.
Oh
So
yeah.
you can say what you want about the kid. He's definitely going to be a first round pick. I
Well,
if
next.
he'll be a first round pick, dude. He will be.
Mm,
He'll be a first round pick. If he's not taken in the at least by the middle to end of the first round, I'd be very surprised. There's a lot of upside there, and like I think a guy like Brock Purdy helps a
mhm.
guy like him because it's like this, he could have come out of in the draft 2 years ago or last year, and people have been like, oh, he had like really bad game film. He has okay game film, but now you're like you put the right kid in the right system, and you will get production. And Bo Nix is talented. There's never been a question that he's not talented.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
I agree with that. It was never taunted. It was more of like decision making and all that. So
and you just decided to describe Spencer Rattler to the T. There's talent there, but there's also scramble brain there.
yeah.
But again, you tone it back and there's talent. Like this is a really for a Senior Bowl, and where you don't really have the top two prospects there. This is a really good class. It really is. I mean, you got him and Pratt, and I think it's good for Pratt because he has a lot to prove to me. And then Sam Hartman, I know who Sam Hartman is. Sam Hartman is going to be a career backup. He's going to be. And Carter Bradley, I'm intrigued from South Alabama.
Yeah, definitely. And the crowd's gonna have his back there because it's gonna be at his stadium for the practices in the game. So that's gonna be very interesting to see when he gets on the field. Let's get to the running backs real quick, Ray. So we got Dylan Lebe from New Hampshire, Cody Strider from Missouri, Marshawn Lloyd, talked about him earlier. He's going to be there from USC. Troy's running back, Kamani Bedell. He's going to be there as well. Rasheen Ali, he's going to be there. Ray Davis from Kentucky. Jalen Wright from Tennessee. We got Jahar Jordan. He's going to be there from Louisville. TCU's Imani Bailey's going to be there as well. So, any names kind of stick out to you right there in that lineup, right?
Did you say Ray Davis from Kentucky?
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite of the guys that are here on my
I
list.
say the same thing, Ray. I was about to say the same thing.
He's one guy that I see a lot of potential as a player as an NFL player. There's if Marshawn Lloyd will get a look because he's at a big school and there's talent there.
Yeah.
Jalen Wright again, big school talent. Jahar Jordan from Louisville is always intriguing to me too. I like him a little bit. Okay. But this is a pretty good running back class since you don't have the top couple guys. This is really good. But I really like Ray Davis from Kentucky.
Yeah, Ray Davis is my guy. A sleeper guy for me is Rasheen Ali from Marshall. I've been kind of following him a little bit on social media, seeing his game. I like his game, man. I'm really intrigued to see how he does at the Senior Bowl. I think he's gonna be intriguing, and I think he's gonna be a guy that people might start buzzing about him a little bit over there. A lot of people might not know who he is, so he's an intriguing name as well. But I agree. Ray Davis is the highlight for me. Super excited to see him and hopefully get an interview with him as well. Let's quickly go to the tight ends. We got Jared Wiley from TCU, Tanner McLaughlin. Linen from Arizona. We got Jemiah Bell from FSU. We got Penn Sanat from Kansas State. We got AJ Barner from Michigan, my guy. We got Minnesota's Brave Lynn Ford. We got Theo Johnson from Penn State. So out of those names, anybody kind of jumps up to you right there, Ray?
I mean, I think Theo Johnson from Penn State is a good player.
Yeah.
Good, solid player. I mean, I like Jaheim Bell from Florida State is a somewhat athletic tight end who could be like an H-back type of a kid. I there's decent players here. Jared Wiley from TCU is a good, solid blocker. There's some interesting guys here. I mean, I like AJ Barner from Michigan because I know that Michigan tight ends usually do a little bit of everything. And so I like them. I like a lot of these guys. Tanner McLaughlin from Arizona is a kid who is a really developmental type of a kid who needs to put on core strength and some more body weight to be as good as he can be, I think.
No, I agree with you, Ray. Kind of stole my thunder because you said exactly what I was going to say. Theo Johnson and Jaheim Bell's going to be the guys there. I think they're going to be the ones that's going to really show out.
Yeah, guys like Johnson's a little bit of a better blocker. Bell is more athletic. So again, I love the idea of running 12 personnel. I'm a fan of it. Yeah. I think when you have tight ends that can expose like a play in the middle of the field, it just opens everything up. My run game, my outside passing game, I like it. So I mean, I like them two guys. I mean, I like all of them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Ben Sinnott from Kansas State is more of an athletic kid who, again, needs to be stronger. Doesn't really block much right now, So, and that's the one thing you don't know. Like certain guys, like Mike Gesicki, I knew wasn't going to be able to block in the NFL. I knew it because he was just too. He didn't have the core strength. Like he doesn't have the lower body to put on a lot of weight. He just didn't. Yeah. Some of these guys may be that type of a guy, but that's why I like Penn State. I love Michigan's starting tight end. His name is escaping me but I guess he's not coming out, huh? Or is he?
No. He's not coming out. He's staying at Michigan. Dang.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I do too, and that's why AJ Burner's gonna be an interesting name for me because I know him from playing Michigan, but he was more of an inline blocker.
That's why I like him because that's what I need. I like tight ends. Like with my offense, they're going to need to do some blocking because my outside receivers are so fast.
Yeah.
But that's why again I like 18 better because he does everything. Where again I know Barner's going to get a block for me, but I don't know what he's going to give me in the passing game.
Definitely. It's killing me right now. Colson Loveland. There you go. Colson Loveland.
Loveland, yeah.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he's one of my. He
will be. What's his second year?
This will be his third year, I think. Yeah.
Next year will be his third year.
Yeah, I believe so.
At the end of next year, dude, he's easy a second round pick.
Yeah, because when he started, when he started getting touches, he's already a freshman. So I think he's a sophomore now. Yeah.
So by the end of next year, he's a second round pick.
Yeah, the kid's only 19, so yeah, he's a sophomore.
He's a second round pick. And honestly, Jerome, if Michigan's still good, maybe the end of the first round.
Yeah, I can see that.
He does everything. He can block. He's a very good receiver. He has enough quickness to get open in the middle of the field. I mean, there's a lot of talent.
He did play that he did in the championship game, man.
Really, you could argue he was probably your best receiver the stretch of the season at the end.
100%. I would say it's very close between him and what's his name? We're about to talk about him now. Roman Wilson.
Yeah.
I think because Roman Wilson, I think he slept on. He's not a great quarterback. I mean, wide receiver, but he's a serviceable guy, and we can talk about him in a second. But
Mhm.
like Colson Loveland was right there as far as talent wise for them. But I see more potential in Loveland where he can really excel and be like a really good tight end, pass catching tight end next year for sure. So I agree with you with that, Ray.
I just think there's a lot of good things to like about him.
Mhm.
Again, his quickness in the middle of the field to get open. He's got good strength. He's already pretty strong. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't really see guys tackle him too easily.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I like him a lot. I thought he was your best offensive player besides your run game at the end of the season. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, let's get into the wide receivers, and we're probably gonna have to cut this to just the offense this week, and then next week we'll talk offensive alignment and defense.
Uh,
Yeah. So wide receivers, I'll get right into who they got for their Senior Bowl here. We got Jordan Whittington from Texas. We got Luke McCaffrey from Rice. If that name sounds familiar, that is Christian McCaffrey's little brother. We got Elanius Smith from Texas A&M. We got Jacob Crowning from Count Clowning, sorry, from Arizona. We got Brayton Rice from USC. We got Javon Barker Baker, sorry, Javon Baker from Central Florida. We got Johnny Wilson from FSU. I'm sorry, USF. We got Ricky Parcell from Florida. Lad McConkey, sorry, I always say his name wrong. I don't know why. From Georgia, we got Marcus Roseme Jackson from Georgia as well. We got Jaquan Jackson from Tulane. So it's gonna be him and his quarterback there, which is kind of cool. You got the connection at least there. You got Jamari Thrash from Louisville. You have Makai Corley from West Kentucky. You got Roman Wilson from Michigan. Um, Devontae Walker from UNC, and you got Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. Who stands up to you right there, Ray?
well, I like a lot of. I like Ricky Pearsall from Florida. I like Brendan Rice from.
Hey, stop it!
I like Brendan Rice from USC.
Mhm.
I like Jamari Thrash from Louisville. A little bit as a slot type of a kid. I like, of course, I like Lad McConkey from Georgia. Again, a slot guy who could be, I think, really, he could play in the slot right now, probably. You know what I mean? He's that good. And I like Roman Wilson from Michigan again, a guy that can do a little bit of everything for you. And he's a physical kid, more physical than you would think for his size. So,
Correct. I'm kind of mad that you pointed out Ricky. Ricky,
so
yeah, because I didn't think a lot of people knew about him. I was like, man, that's gonna be my little secret. I really like his game, man. I really do. I think he's gonna do a lot of good things. I think him coming to the Senior Bowl is gonna even help him even more to kind of put his name out there. A name that you didn't mention, or maybe I missed this right, but Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. I really think he's going to be a good guy over there as well. He might be my favorite wide receiver down there this at the Senior Bowl. Obviously Roman Wilson is a guy up there just because Michigan guy. 2 years in a row, I got Michigan wide receiver that's going to the Senior Bowl. That's pretty cool. Um, and
well, that's because they got to go there and prove themselves because they never get the ball in college.
you're right, Ray. No, you're right. You see how Nico
I
Collins.
think you know what? It's funny because like I do like Legit from South Carolina, but he's another one who didn't get the uses that you would think he would for being a pretty good football player. But again, I do like him. I mean, I like Jacob Cowing from Arizona, but again, a little smallish,
Yeah.
like thin. You know what I mean? I worry about them kind of guys.
But that's my worry about Lad McConkey too, because he's a little smaller too. He's not super thin, but like also he's been getting injured a lot lately too. So that kind
He
of
has, but I think a lot of that is because he tries to be. I think if at the next level he has a role, and it's not in everything. Like he had to do a lot for Georgia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did. You saw when he got out of the game, they were like him and the tight end were basically their passing game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a lot for a guy of that size. You know what I mean? So
no, 100%. So I think that I do worry about his injuries. I think he's gonna definitely shine at the Senior Bowl. You know, it's a little bit more safe environment where you won't get hit as much. We'll see how he does in the game. I worry about his long-term health, honestly, but definitely a very talented player, a move the sticks kind of guy. He the way he moves the sticks reminds me of Jason Avant in a sense, where every third down it was him and Brock Bowers just ready to catch the ball and get your first down every time. So he gave me that kind of sense. Not comparing him to Jason Avant, but just saying like the type of player, like a role player that you need him to go out there and get that first down for you. He can do that for you. So. But yeah, man, I think there's going to be a really talented Senior Bowl. It's going to be a lot of names that people are going to really learn from the Senior Bowl, especially the quarterback position. We didn't even get into the defense yet. I think there's a lot of guys on defense as well. There's a ton of Michigan guys going out to the Senior Bowl this year, which I'm not used to. So we'll definitely, I don't know how many of them I'm going to be able to interview, but I know there's a number one guy that I definitely want to talk to for sure, and we're going to definitely talk about that next week. So any closing words real quick, Ray? You got a Ray rant this week?
I don't really have a rant, just that it was really I was really excited to watch the NFL this week because it was the last week my team was going to be playing. So I mean, man, I'm looking forward. The only thing that I was disappointed was really out of all the games, only one game was a good game.
That's true.
All the other games were blowouts.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams and the Lions game was a really good game.
Yeah.
The other games were horrible, man. I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to see good games. I mean, man, we all want to win. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not going to win, at least I want to see good games. And I didn't see a lot of good games this week, man. I didn't.
No, I hear you, Ray.
Unlike when you had the college playoffs, it was all good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know in the end, Michigan kind of manhandled Washington a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's fine. You know,
I still think that game was a good game, though. I mean,
it's a good game for like 2.5, 3 quarters. It was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I mean, the NFL by halftime, most of the games were over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Watered down product, man.
Yeah, we'll see how it is next week, though, man. The best of the best is in there.
Good games next week, though. I'm looking forward to seeing the Texans beat up on Baltimore.
That would be crazy, Ray. That would be like I'm telling you, like people are gonna go crazy for CJ Stroud if that happens for sure. Because that defense, that Ravens defense is a really good defense. That defense
it is a good defense, and I'm just kidding.
It's Kyle.
I'd love to see Baltimore lose to the Texans. You know that, but I'm just.
Is my boy Kyle Hamilton playing?
He is.
He is.
He is.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, I don't see anything on him.
I don't like the Ravens much, in case no one noticed that.
I noticed. It says that he did not practice. Oh, that's 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
They haven't played in 2 weeks, man. I'm sure he's ready to play.
He didn't play in almost a month.
I know. I know he missed a couple games. I know he missed a game against Miami. So
Yeah, the game that he played that he got injured in was the 49ers game. So that was a while ago.
yeah.
So he might be okay now. He might be okay now. So it's gonna be interesting to see him play for sure. But yeah, man, I hope everybody go out there and enjoy your college football. I mean your college football, your NFL playoffs right now. If you're looking for draft needs and draft questions, we got the Senior Bowl coming up with Inside the Hashes. RPO College Football Podcast is always gonna be doing draft analysis like you've seen us doing tonight. If you want to watch and hear us, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, hit that notification button on so you know we go live. If anybody wants to come in here and ask questions, we do put our questions on here, like our guy Caleb Smith, I believe it was. I apologize if I'm not saying your name right, but I appreciate him getting on here and pitting his questions. He's a new guy, never really hit comments in here, so we do appreciate you coming in here and listening to us. But if you want to put in comments as well, just make sure you follow us on YouTube. Know when we go live, and we'll put your comments on here and comment back with it. If you have any questions, let us know. If you can't get us to us live, definitely go on the YouTube channel and put your comments in there. We comment back on all comments and everything like that. So if you have a comment, you want to put a comment on our YouTube channel, we will answer it back on there. Maybe we might come back on our next podcast and throw it on the next podcast as well. So once again, man, thank you guys so much for checking us out, man. This is the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite podcast, your favorite college football podcast. Make sure you check us out. Stay tuned with all of your draft needs. We're going to be doing this all off-season, so don't worry. We're going to be touching on a lot of subjects, a lot of players, a lot of team drafts, and where people are going to go. Like I said, we're going to have mock drafts. We're going to have special guests on with us for a mock draft and all that. So keep it locked right here. We got a lot of great stuff coming and going and everything like that. We're going to have our live Senior Bowl podcast as well while we're at the Senior Bowl. So make sure you tune in for that. And we're going to be jumping on there. Maybe grab Ray a couple of nights to come on to some of our Senior Bowl podcasts as well and, tell us what he sees from afar. Unfortunately, we gotta get you off. We gotta get you to Alabama, man. One of these years, man.
Yeah, Alabama.
We gotta get you out of here, man. We gotta get you out
How
of here.
long you to get there?
It's not like a 5-hour drive. Not bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, not bad.
That's what I took when I went to Syracuse for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But definitely keep it locked right here, man. We're gonna have all that going. So once again, I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts right there. Thank y'all so much. Have a good night, and see you next week. Peace.